Okay. There's always a delay here. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Um, I trust that you can hear me. Trust that you can hear me. Uh, Welcome to another episode of Unmuted Destiny with Jamie Green. And I am president and founder of A Mother's Cry. And Sylvia's Sister Circle is one of the initiatives that we have under A Mother's Cry. I was just informed that my guest will not be able to be with us tonight. But we journey on. That's my personal theme. I journey on. Um, the guest that I had scheduled for tonight was Natasha White, who is the Director of Community Engagement with an organization called Interfaith Action for Human Rights. And as I've been saying throughout the month of November, this month we are honoring the memory of my oldest sister, Sylvia Palmer White, who passed in 2005. And we established this initiative in her honor and in her name. And so the mission of Sylvia's Sister Circle is to honor women's stories, right? Especially the stories that the world tries to silence. We have created a space for truth, for healing, and for the voices of women who have survived trauma and circumstances that were never designed for them to thrive in. So the conversation that we had scheduled tonight with Natasha fit perfectly in with the mission of Sylvia's Sister Circle. But she will not be able to be here tonight, but I'm still going to spend a few moments with you as we are coming to the close of the month of November. I still want to honor this part of my sister's journey, okay? Sylvia's Sister Circle is about standing with women who have been overlooked, underestimated, and judged instead of supported. Our last conversation was with a young lady uh, who had also experienced um, Black maternal health issues, and my sister Sylvia experienced Black maternal health issues. And this coming Sunday, on the 30th at 3 o'clock, we will be talking with her daughter, Jocelyn White, and her son, Gary White Jr., about what it's been like to walk out their life journey without their mom's physical presence. So we're going to talk with them Sunday, and that will be the conclusion of this month of honoring Sylvia for Sylvia's Sister Circle. But we will continue to honor her every day through the Sister Circle. Um, One of the things that we will address, that we were going to address tonight, and I'm still going to talk about it, is female incarceration, because Sylvia had experienced what it was like to be incarcerated. And she would tell stories of how even still share positive things, and she would still talk about her upbringing and her back come from. And no matter what mistakes she made, she knew that God still loved her. And so that's what we want to share with anybody, any person that is behind the wall, whether you're in the detention center, jail, or prison, wherever. You're not forgotten and you're not unloved. Natasha's journey was good to share because she too had been incarcerated for 15 years, and she also was in solitary confinement for 4 years, which is something that A Mother's Cry is talking with legislators and elected officials about the use of solitary confinement in our state prisons. We are addressing that. I got tickled kind of because someone said to me, they heard about a mother's cry, the little group that we have going on. And then I began to think about the fact that I had just got off a call communicating with the commissioner and the ombudsman and someone from the government's office. So I was tickled because I said, a mother's cry is not some little group, just because you don't know about it, but it is a movement, and we are making a difference in the world, and I'm excited about that. Um, so tonight, like I said, for those who's joining, my guest is unable to join me, but I'm still going to talk about female incarceration, because it was a part of Sylvia's life journey. It was a part of her experience. And so talking about this affirms our commitment to justice, compassion, advocacy, and healing. Just because you spend time in jail or prison or whatever, that does not bring devalue who you are or what your purpose is in the earth. Everything we go through, we can use as a part of our story. And so we're reminded that our sisterhood for the Sylvia Sister Circle reaches behind prison walls, right? Um, it reaches into the hearts of survivors. And every space where women are, we are reclaiming their voices, whether it's in domestic violence situations, in Black maternal health, or in prisons. We are reclaiming our voices. And so today we honor Sylvia by telling these stories, right? I know there's a lot of shame and guilt and whatever that comes with people who have experienced incarceration. I pray that you get past that, that you get healed from that, because there's a whole lot of people that may not have been behind uh, gated prison or where there's a wall or on a concrete plantation, but they live in a prison every day in their mind. And so um, we all have to understand the importance of freedom. And when we are free, we have to share our stories to help other people to be free. Uh, I wanted to talk about female incarceration, redemption, and reentry with dignity. I know of several females, young women, older women, teenagers that have been incarcerated, right? And most of them that I talked to, they learned some valuable lessons while being incarcerated, and they took what they learned and they brought it home to share those who have come home. And we talk about reentry. That's a big, a big word nowadays. Everybody's talking about reentry programs and so forth and so on. But we have to make sure that we are providing resources for people before they leave prison, before they leave jail, that will help them to re-enter into our communities successfully and effectively. So one of the things that I was going to share with my guest tonight was asking the question of how you turn your pain into purpose. And that is something I'm going to share with you tonight, that no matter what you have experienced, and yes, I know I may be talking to somebody who has a loved one that's incarcerated, right? Um, a sister, a cousin, a friend, a girlfriend, someone, a female that you really had, you were close to, and now they're gone. Um, but I think that it's important for you, while they are behind the wall, to remind them that they're not alone, right? You can't be there with them physically, but they need to know that you have not forgotten them, and that you're doing all that you can to make things good for them for when they do come home. If they know anything about faith, they have any type of faith, um, just remind them that their faith can sustain them even in those challenging times. I remember stories that Sylvia shared when she was incarcerated at the detention center. and about the condition. And sometimes the women, it was not the kindest environment to be in. But she always found a way to be herself. If you knew Sylvia, everywhere she went, she had a joke to tell, even if it was corny. She she had a joke to tell. She was always singing a song. My youngest sisters, Kelly and I, always laugh about Sylvia being a person that would sing anywhere. Right? We could be in the club. Yeah, we didn't always go to church like 24 hours a day. When we became adults, we did go to the club. Hallelujah. And so we would be in the club drinking and what have you, and she would just burst out with some church song, right? And she would sing it, and people felt it. And tears would be rolling or whatever, because that was it was in her. So even in jail, they tell me that she would be singing and ministering to people. Um, and saying stuff like, yeah, I know I'm in here too, but we need to get our life together because XYZ. She always wanted to uplift and support other people. And so I want you to encourage anybody that you know that is behind the wall, any of your sister friends, just remind them that faith can sustain you anywhere. You just have to hold on to it. From the prison wall to you come out and you can publicly advocate for others who are still behind the wall. As we prepare to close out the month of honoring Sylvia, I was thinking about the fact that the work that I do through A Mother's Cry is mostly for mothers that have sons, though we do support mothers that, sons or daughters behind the wall. But my story started because of my personal story with my son being behind the wall. And so I focus a lot on males behind the wall, right? On what I call the concrete plantation. But statistics are showing us that the rate of growth in female incarceration is significantly higher than males. Like there are more males actually locked up, but the women being sent to prison, the females, they may be teenagers, they may not be grown women, going into the system is significantly higher than males going in at this time. And females are generally um, being sentenced due to trauma related issues, right? Mostly like domestic violence or um, sometimes theft and drugs, stuff like that. But the cases of just plain out violent offenses are usually lower for female inmates and males. We see a lot of females stealing to provide for their children, stealing food, stealing clothes, whatever the case may be. Um, so, as we close out this month, I dare not acknowledge this part of my sister's journey because it was a part of her journey. You're not talking about it doesn't change the fact that it happened. And so, things that I work with my guest about is started at an organization called Broken Crayons Still Color, which is a trauma-informed reentry support for women who have been incarcerated. And I just want to share with you that Broken Crowns Still Color, right? You may see yourself or other people may see you as broken and damaged because you've been to jail or you made bad decisions or whatever the case may be. But I want to encourage you tonight that in spite of what you've gone through, in spite of what you've done, you are still important to God. You're still important to your family, and that there are people that love you and are generally praying for you. Those of you who are just joining me, I want to to say that Natasha was not able to join me this evening. So I just wanted to just go ahead and speak for a few minutes about female incarceration, because it is a part of my sister's journey. And so that's what I have done. I'd like to remind you also, again, that Sunday at 3 o'clock, we will close out the Sylvia Sister Circle um, time of honoring this month, with a conversation with her two children, her son, Gary White Jr., and her daughter. And they're both kind of nervous to talk to me on the podcast. Um, but I think they can bring a type of insight into this conversation that honors Sylvia that nobody else can bring as her children. And so I'm going to be talking with them Sunday at 3 o'clock live here on Facebook. If you can join us, that would be great. So, again, I thank you all that tuned in. I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to join me. I really do appreciate it. Like I said, things happen sometimes and they don't go the way that we plan for them to go, but there's still purpose in everything that we do. Again, I'd like to ask you to support A Mother's Cry. We have a lot of work to do. Every day we are receiving requests to advocate for or to support a mother whose child is in prison, a mother whose child may have just come home. Um, and it takes money to do some things. Like, we've been blessed so far to have people who say, because I see what you're trying to do and because I appreciate what you're doing, I will dedicate my time. But we have like experts, people who have worked in the criminal justice field for many, many, many years, who are volunteering time to help us um, to get done what we need to get done. But we're going to have to start paying people to help us get to the next level as we grow and we evolve. Everything costs money. I said this a couple months ago that we wanted to donate to adopt a couple of families for the holidays. That requires money, but we didn't get any donations yet for that. Um, and I'm not discouraged, I'm not discouraged, but I'm just pointing out that it takes money to do the work that we're trying to do. And so we have mothers that can even put money on their children's books that are behind the wall. And A Mother's Cry would like to eventually be able to help with things like that as well. So we have a lot to do. And the vision is great, but so is our God. And we just thank you to those of you who do support us. I appreciate that. All right, so I'm getting ready to close out. Anybody have any questions for me? Feel free to write them down right quick in the comment section. Otherwise, I'm going to be signing off. And maybe, hopefully, we'll be able to reschedule Natasha for another time because the work that she does is very important. But she, was not able to join us tonight. And, stuff happens. That's life. So we're not going to stress about that. But I just want to say to those of you who have families, who have sisters that are behind the wall, be there for them, support them, right? It's expensive um, behind the wall, right? It shouldn't be as expensive as it is, but it is. I do some research the other day that says that state prisons, especially, make like $60,000 per inmate a year. So that means that the inmates and the inmates' families should not have to be paying for anything. But that's a whole nother podcast. So, again, I thank you all for joining me. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them for me. and I will respond. Again, I appreciate um, those of you who say, what can I do to support A Mother's Cry? Right? I see you doing a good work. I see you trying to help people. What can we do? What can I do to help? I appreciate that. All right, so I'm finished for tonight. As I said, I will see you Sunday at 3 o'clock as we close out our Sylvia Sister Circle Honoring Month with her two children sharing their story about their mother. Thank you all for tuning in. Keep me in your prayers. Like, please keep me in your prayers. This is anybody that does any kind of advocacy work, it's exhausting emotionally, physically, spiritually. I've been blessed to have people in my life that keep me covered in prayer, that will text me and just say, just checking on you. How are you doing? Want to make sure you're okay. I've been blessed with that. Um, but there is a lot of work to be done, and we need your support. All right. All right. Well, that's it. Thank you so much. I love you all. You pray for me, and I will pray for you. See you later. Bye bye.